I have to say I'm impressed by the organizers to bring all of us here in this really beautiful place. And on top of that, I had a chance to talk to a few of you earlier today. And what occurs to me that people here want to anticipate the future. You know what I mean? Like not to wait until it's too long and just to react to it. And to me, that translates as you are growth oriented and action seekers, which is my kind of people. And that gives me immense privilege to talk in front of you today for the topic that I have, which is how to validate ideas in the right way. I'm very passionate about it, and what I really hope that it will bring you as value, it's actually for two reasons. One is that with the system that I'm about to present to you, you will learn how to turn ideas into reality in matter of hours. And two, you will finally find a way how to take control over the two, for me, strongest forces in business, which are supply and demand. I know that these are big claims, but I'm here to deliver you some actionable steps that you can take and experience everything that I will be talking about today. So just to check a few boxes up front, when it comes down to validating ideas, I know that most of you, if not all of you, have already heard about things like product market fit or product or minimum viable product or market research, A/B testing, and all these are very useful, let's call them methods. But what I think that they lack of is giving you enough information, giving you enough leverage to connect the customer needs with your product, to enable you to sell the idea upfront so you can build a large customer base, big enough at least to lift off the ground your business. And my system does all of that, which is why I came up with it. But of course, there is a deeper reason why I came up with it, and that it has to do with my lifelong desire or passion to start things, to start businesses, to see my ideas come to life, coupled, of course, with my continuous failure to do so. See, by the age of 35, I had so many ideas, so many businesses that I wanted to start, so many attempts in which I failed, but who counts? Had a few successes, moderate ones, they didn't last for too long, but then something clicked. And about 5 years ago, I started a company for recruiting students in the UK. And in these last 5 years, I would learn all the lessons that I needed prior to my success. And if you allow me now, I want to share with you the two most important insights that I gained from my journey that they actually led to the creation of this system I'm about to present to you. The first insight has to do with, you see, when we are validating ideas, we tend to assume way too much. And these false assumptions, they can evolve so quickly and so deeply that we start adding layer upon layer upon layer, and then we involve many others that we don't even have control over, as all it happens in our mind, that virtually makes it impossible for our assumptions to be correct. But what do? Oh, we love our assumptions. We believe in them, and we feel really certain as deeper we go in these false assumptions. And unfortunately, more often than not, instead of taking some actions, we actually end up being disappointed by our own conclusions, and we give up. I don't know if you have done it, but I've done it many times. So in a way, we have to find a way to get rid of these false assumptions. I dare to say that, especially for first-time entrepreneurs, I don't know if there are many here, but I dare to say that for first-time entrepreneurs, the biggest killer of your business dreams are these false assumptions. So you have to get rid of them. Once we get to that point, we can discuss my second insight, which it has to do with these forces I'm talking about, supply and demand. And it's about them being either vicious dictators in your business, or you can turn them into masterful servants. And one or the other simply depends on understanding the relationship between client, product, and company. You see, this triangular relationship has shifted throughout the history, and as we know from the past, early on, companies were dictating the game. You know, there were a few of them, they were big, they could afford it. Later, with more companies appearing, producing more products, competition has arisen, so the power shifted towards the product. Nowadays, and in the foreseeable future, the client is the king. You see, with this hyper choice and hyper production caused by the other two sides of the triangle, the client has rightfully sat on the throne as a king. And as such, the client now demands more, wants more, expects way more than before. And the client wants it perfect. Now, personalized, specific, with more attention. And all these, it may sound like a threat to some, but all I'm doing here today is to show you that this is the greatest opportunity, because finally you can serve your clients in a very unique way. And even for individuals with just an ideas, they can become small brands very quickly. And this has never been like this before. So if the client is the king and we understand this relationship, then we need to make sure that we have really a lot of information about this client. We need to make sure that we have some leverage that connects our product or service with the needs of the client. We need to make sure that we can personalize it so that the choice that is such a huge one now for the client can be steered somehow towards our product and services. And my system does all that for you. And I would like to show you now how it works. I call it the IPO system, which stands for Insightful Personalized Offering. Of course, there is a more popular meaning for IPO, which is Initial Public Offering, but that has to do more with successful businesses towards the exit, where my system is designed to help you on the entry and in a way that you can lift off the ground the business and make sure that you can get to successful exit. So let's dive into the details of this system. As you can understand, it has three main ingredients: insight, offer, and personalization, or insight, personalization, and offer. The insight has to do something with the outcome of your product. And the purpose of this insight that we're going to use is to connect your product with the customer's needs. You see, in most of the cases, I believe that actually the idea that you came on the first place, the reason why you came up with the idea in the first place, are those insights that we take for granted, which means that in order to just figure it out, you need just to take a step back and remember what was that information that got me excited about this idea, that was the impetus for me to really think and start this business or project or venture, whatever it's in your mind. But typically those insights and these personalized information sometimes are something that can connect with the client's needs. But of course, this connection, in a way, this becomes the bridge, unique bridge for connection between the client and your product or service. But as we understand, connection is not enough, so we need the second ingredient, which is the personalization. What do we personalize? We personalize the insight. You see, if this insight is so valuable for us, we want to make sure that it's valuable for the potential client too. But if we don't enable the client to see it through its own lenses, it's going to be a very hard job. So with this personalization of the insight, then what we're going to do is we're going to help the client to connect with this insight, but also we're going to gather a lot of information about the client, and we will create leverage to create authority on us. We'll create leverage which will help us to steer the choice towards us. And we will put that impetus to want the client, to make the client to want to work with us and to choose our product even before we are ready. Now, we connected with the client, we created the leverage. It will all mean nothing if we don't add the third ingredient, which is the offering. But here, ladies and gents, I really want you to understand that when I say offering, I don't mean to offer the product. As you remember, the product is no longer the king. We moved to a place where the client is the king. So we're not offering a product, but what we are offering is just a way for the client to signal that he wants to become a client. And if there is a core message that I would love for you to remember today from my talk, is that we're no longer in need to validate products or services first, but we need to validate clients first. We no longer need to validate products or service first, but we need to validate clients first. And if we're gonna, actually, let me take a step back. If you think about it, even just as a thought pattern, back in the day, probably people thought when it comes down to their ideas to start a business, they probably thought for an idea just as a business, which of course came alongside with a product, and later they will think how to source clients. At some moment that probably shifted towards thinking first for a product for which they will start a business, and again in the end to source clients. But nowadays what we need to start with is actually the clients. We need to think first how we can source clients first, for which we will adapt everything else afterwards. And my system actually is designed to help you do that. But to gain a little better perspective of this system, I want to give you a couple of hypothetical examples how this could work actually in real life. One of the examples that makes it easier for me to explain is, let's say you are, and might not actually be very related to this audience here, but it will serve the purpose of me giving you an example that is more valuable for this insight. For this system. So let's say that you are a personal trainer who wants to sell programs for people that they want to lose weight, look healthier, fitter, and feel better about themselves. And let's imagine that inside this personal trainer has, and here please don't judge me, I'm not a personal trainer, I have no clue whether this information that I will give you is true or not. But just for the sake of the example, let's say that the personal trainer has as an insight that losing weight, it has to do way more with, for example, food composition rather than diet related to calorie restriction. And what this personal trainer will have to do then to get this insight formed in a nice way, go out there, and by that, of course, I mean social media, create a post and share this information, this insight with the potential clients. We understand that insight is not enough, so we need to add the second ingredient to personalize this insight somehow. And the way that this personal trainer can do this is by asking questions to which he will be able to give specific personalized answers. Nowadays, we can use online tools that they create these questionnaires that have dynamic answers, which will fit the purpose for the personal trainer to ask the questions that will help him determine the specific needs of the client. And in this case, I would imagine that will be probably something around the type of the body or age, etc. And once the personal trainer figures out what is the type of, or it puts in a few buckets all these type of bodies, let's say, then he will be able to give personalized information about the insight that he has, how it can work for that specific client. Once this is done, all we need for the personal trainer is to enable his or her client to signal interest that he or she would like to in the future buy this product or this program or use it. So all we need to do is on these personalized answers that we send back to add a simple link which enables the client to signal this interest. And the signaling of the interest can be in the form of asking to join a waiting list for a program that will be launched in a few weeks, for example, or it could be to contribute with a small deposit towards a program that again could launch in a few weeks, or simply just to signal interest, and or anything that can come to your mind that will fit the purpose. And by doing this, this personal trainer will be able to control the supply and demand by knowing all the information that he needs for his client, but also knowing what exactly he or she has to deliver, how many, and to have an idea what will be the client base that is big enough for him to lift off this business from the ground. I do have actually a few more examples that I wanted to give, but I'm going closer with the time. So instead of that, what I will do is to hopefully you liked what I said, but what is important for me in a way to practice what I preach, if I've managed to connect with you through my insights, I would like to stay in touch with you. And maybe, who knows, with some of you in the future, to help you validate your ideas and turn them into reality. And to do that, all you need is just to either scan the QR code to stay in touch with me, or you can visit www.stayintouchwithme.net. That's the name of the landing page, www.stayintouchwithme.net. And hopefully, I'll look forward to see you in the future. My final words, and to wrap up this talk, I want to say that if you do have any idea, if you want to start something, it could be a business, it could be a project, it could be a new product in your company, anything, I urge you to act on it and act quickly. Instead of leaving these false assumptions to kill your idea. Don't die wondering. It may work, it may not. You may use my system, you may use another one. It doesn't matter. But just act on it. And if it works, you'll be happy. But even if it doesn't work, you will still be happier than just waiting and doubting. So please, act on these ideas and get this bravery out of you. And I promise you that with each idea that you act on, you will get better and better and happier. My very final words, coming from the great Canadian hockey player, Wayne Gretzky, who says you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. It's been an absolute pleasure. I thank you so much for this amazing opportunity, and I hope to see you soon.